Hi everyone and welcome to this video. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the detailed analysis and score versus percentile prediction from MBA CET 2026. Now today, the response sheet for slot 2, rather attempt 2 was released. So we have total 7 slots now, 5 slots from the first attempt and 2 slots from the second attempt. So I'm going to share the percentile prediction and we'll also talk about what you should be doing next. So what are the next steps that are going to happen and some of the things that you should keep in mind as an aspirant. So let's begin. Now, first things first, on the IMS CET score calculator and percentile predictor, right? You will be able to calculate your CET score and the predicted percentile as well. So at this point of time, at the time of recording this video, we are almost about 1700 odd submissions. However, when you look at the percentile prediction that we have done, of course, it has an algorithm. So even with a limited sample size, it will be able to give you a decent percentile prediction. Now, there are some simple steps that you need to follow. Just visit this particular page. At the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see a link. You can visit this. I'll also give a link in the description. You can go here and upload your response sheet. Now, some of you may have appeared for both attempt 1 as well as attempt 2. In that case, you can upload your attempt 1 response sheet first. In the same option, in the same window, you'll be able to see an option wherein you can upload your second attempt response sheet as well. So this is how it looks. First, you just need to upload the HTML file. You have to log into your dashboard. And for your attempt 1, obviously that response sheet will not be visible to you right now. But in case you already saved that HTML, you'll be able to upload it. That's how most of the students have used and checked their score and predicted percentile. For attempt 2, obviously at this point of time, it is available in the portal. You can save it as HTML and upload it. So this is how it is going to look. Let's say I've uploaded the response sheet for the first attempt. Then this is how it is going to show me. So as you can see on screen, it will show you say 6th April 26 afternoon slot. The score is 99 out of 200 and the predicted percentile is 87.97. Now there is an additional option that it will show you. Have you attempted the exam in more than one slot? In which case you can upload the second response sheet as well. So this is how it will look. So as you can see at the top, you will see two tabs, response sheet 1 and response sheet 2. Now, some of the students, in case you are facing some sort of an issue uploading your HTML, just check the format of the HTML. Sometimes that could be an issue. And if that is not helping you, I would suggest that you start all over, which means use a different mobile number and upload your response sheet 1 and response sheet 2, and it will give you the predicted percentile. So as you can see again, for this particular student, appeared in attempt 2 as well. And as you can see, 109 out of 200, the predicted percentile is 92.38. This is 9th May 2026 afternoon slot. Okay, so it will also give you your sectional scores for each of the sections, what's your attempt and accuracy and all of that. And it will also show you the entire response sheet. So which questions are correct, which questions are incorrect, right? So please try it out and let us know how you are finding it. Now, let's look at the big discussion, right? So estimated score versus percentile. And when we created this sort of the percentile mapper that we have at the back end, which is giving you your percentile predictions, we are also going to revise this at a later point of time in case we get any major updates. What I mean by major updates is that if we get to know about, let's say, a lot of students in a certain range. So as you're submitting your response sheets, we are also analyzing that data. And this is what we have at this point of time. So don't think that, okay, this is what your final percentile is going to be. This is ultimately an estimation, a prediction exercise. So you will have to account for some sort of margin of error. So that is always going to be there. But this will give you some indication as to where you stand, and it will help you to take the necessary steps from here on. So what you see and what we also observed is that if you look at the easiest slot, right? So the easiest slot were basically, if you look at the whole thing, the slots where people were able to score on the higher side, right? Obviously, the paper is easy, so your topper is going to be on a higher side. That was slot 2 and slot 7. So they were found to be the most easiest of the entire lot. Then you have slot 1, slot 4, and slot 6, which are again three comparable slots. You will see the score versus predicted percentile is almost similar. And if you look at the most difficult slots, they were slot 3 and slot 5. So slot 2, slot 7, the easiest. Slot 1, 4, and slot 6 were similar, they were kind of moderate. And then you have slot 2 and you have you have slot 3 and slot 5, the most difficult of the slots. And that is how you will also see at a particular percentile range, you can just figure it out what is happening, right? So if you look at, let's say, a 99 percentile range, 99 percentile, let's say in the easiest papers, right, which is basically slot 2 and slot 7, would be about 139, 140. If you look at the moderate slots, which is slot 1, 4, and 6, that would be about 135 to 136. And if you look at the difficult slots, that is slot 3 and slot 5, it is going to be 123, 125 respectively. So this will help you to do an estimation, even if, let's say, you don't end up using the IMS score versus the predicted percentile, the mapper that we have and the tool that we have. Even if you don't end up using that, you can just refer to this particular slide and make an estimate that, okay, this is mostly where I am going to be. How it will help you is it will help you to figure out what is going to happen next. For example, let's say you are trying to get into certain set of institutes and they typically have a particular percentile cutoff, right? So that is something that you will find on the CET cell website as well. And if you look at the last year's document on the CAP website, they are there, so you can check it out for yourself. If you see that, okay, you're nearby, right, then you can plan your next journey accordingly. But if you realize that, no, there is some difference, I need to cover it up in some or the other way. So you may have to appear for some of the additional exams, which I will speak about. So bottom line, there is no point right now sitting and thinking too much about what could have been or should have been, right? What is done is done, right? So whether you like your score or not, that's a separate thing. What's done is done. So rather than spending too much time on it, rather than thinking too much about the percentile prediction, and let's say the score changes that may happen because of the objection tracker and challenges that people will make, without worrying too much about it, if I have like a rough estimate of where do I stand at this point of time, at least I can plan my next set of things better. Okay, so do that rather than worrying too much about what your score and predicted percentile is going to be. So finally, what are the next steps? Now from here, right now the objection tracker window is open for the second slot, second attempt. So in case there are any questions that you think should be challenged, you can let us know. You can leave it as a comment. We can check whether it really makes sense to do that or not. In fact, somebody reached out to us with a particular question and we told that person that this challenge will not hold because of the way question is framed, right? So please let us know in case you find anything worth challenging. Then they will be announcing any changes in the second attempt key, if any, because for attempt 1 also they did that. It might take a couple of days before that actually happens. So maybe another week's time or so before they actually announce if there are any changes and whether your marks are going to go up or they're going to remain the same. Then finally, they will announce the CET 26 result. Now, exactly whether your scorecard is going to carry both attempt 1 and attempt 2 percentile or not, that is something that we don't know at this point of time because the two attempt format is happening for the very first time. So it may happen that your actual scorecard is going to show you 2 percentile values from your first attempt and your second attempt, or it might just end up showing you the best percentile that you've got. Your percentile, as indicated on the CET cell website, is going to be, I think, what, 6 or 7 decimal places. So that is what they will finally use for the ranking purpose. But do they release the ranking on the scorecard? No. So your scorecard is not going to have a rank. It is not going to show you where you stand because that's how typically it has been. Now, what they do is they will announce the cap round notification. So they will let you know that, okay, on this particular day, the cap form is going to open. Anybody who is interested in participating in the further admission process has to fill the cap form. Whether you have taken the CET or you have not taken the CET, because there could be all India candidates who have not appeared for CET and they are planning to apply with some other test score, they will also be able to participate in these rounds and they will have to mandatorily fill the form. So whether you appeared for CET or not, if you want to participate in the subsequent process, you have to register for CAP. Once you register for CAP, they will also announce the seat metrics, which will show you how many seats are there in each of the institutes in individual categories that are out there. And there will be a final merit list that will be shown. So in the final merit list, typically what we observed is that compared to the number of takers, the final set of students who actually participate in the CAP rounds is less than half. In fact, there have been years when the actual takers have been more than 1.1 lakh, 1.2 lakh, etc. And the actual number of people who participate in the cap rounds is about 55,000 to 60,000 if you include all India candidates as well. So your final competition is going to be with these 55 to 60,000 people who will fill the cap form. It is not with everybody who has appeared for the CET at this point of time. Then, of course, you will have the cap form wherein you indicate your institute preferences. And finally, there is a centralized admission process, which is what cap is, wherein you will be allotted a particular seat and you can decide whether you want to join that particular institute or you want to try for a betterment by securing your seat, or if you don't get any allotment, how do you if you want to participate in the next set of rounds, right? So there are different options available. Of course, it's going to be covered in a separate video, so we'll do that and you can watch it later, because right now it's too early to talk about cap rounds. What you should do is any documentation that is required, right? So you can get those things started, especially the domicile certificate and your category certificate. If you have, if you are eligible to get these documents, please get it done as soon as possible. One most important thing that a lot of students miss out on is the entire application process for other exams, as well as the individual institutes that have non-MMS programs. See, when you apply for CET and you appeared for CET, cap rounds, you will be able to use your CET score, right? And cap rounds, typically, most of the institutes open for their MMS programs. Some institutes may have only MMS program, which is the Master of Management Studies. Some institutes may have only PGDM, and some institutes may have a combination, which means they have both MMS and PGDM. The MMS process is governed by the CET cell. So all the institutes will participate in the cap rounds, wherein you can fill the form and all of that, right? So that is going to happen after CET result and in the cap process, right? In the centralized admission process. The independent process for PGDM applications will always be there. So if you see any institute which has a PGDM program, right, some of them will still accept your score. Okay, some of them have already closed their admission process, so there you can't apply because a lot of institutes begin by June. But you're always going to find local institutes in, let's say, your city or your state, wherein they have PGDM program and they will be accepting CET or some of the other exam scores as well. So just in case now you have realized that, okay, through CET, I'm not going to get a very good score, and because of which I need to relook at what options I'm going to consider, please have a look at some of these options. Or you may have got a good score and now you want to create some backup opportunities as well, just in case through the cap round, you don't get the institute of your choice. And that is why you should apply for some of the non-MMS programs. That can happen in the form of PGDM applications. That can also happen in the form of, say, applying to an MSc Finance program or an MHRD program at JBIMS, for example, and some of the other institutes also who have these non-MMS programs. We will cover that in a separate video. So once the results are out, we are going to have all of that guidance to you. The other thing that students miss out on is the exams such as MAT and ATMA. Now, before cap rounds, whatever test scores you get, they are going to use those scores. Now, unfortunately, CET cell is not known for issuing notices in advance, so they don't give that clarification whether they will be accepting all MAT scores, all ATMA scores that get declared before the result. But that is how it's almost like an unsaid rule that they will accept it. And looking at the timeline, right? Look, if you look at the timeline of the cap from the past, you will see that you get sufficient time before the cap rounds begin. So now let's make an estimate that, okay, now we are in May and the second response sheet is out. Of course, you're going to have the challenge window, changes, and finally result. So let's say result comes out to be maybe in the first week of June, right? And then cap rounds, by the time they begin, by the time everything happens, it's almost July, which means that there is a possibility that you're going to have your result of MAT and ATMA getting released prior to that. MAT for sure, because it's going to happen, if you look at the test date, 31st May and 14 June for PBT and CBT respectively. So that is going to happen, and anyway, you'll have the result in June itself. So MAT score for sure you'll be able to use. ATMA is a bit tentative because by the time the result comes out, you don't know whether cap rounds would have started or not. So that is why I would say definitely look at MAT as an alternative to, if you want to get into, say, JBIMS or some of the top tier colleges, because that score gets accepted. A lot of students say that this information is not there on the JBIMS website, but understand that for JBIMS MMS, they participate in cap rounds. So whatever CET cell says, they have to follow it. So if CET cell says MAT score we are going to accept, JBIMS has to accept it, but they will accept it only for the All India candidates. It's a complicated process, but on the same channel, you have a video already which is called JBIMS admission process, where everything has been covered. Please have a look at that video. And if you have any questions on the admission process, then let me know. And it's not only about JBIMS, right? MAT and ATMA scores are accepted for the all India seats, which are essentially, if you look at the seat distribution, 15% of the seats in all the colleges are reserved for all India candidates, which means that you can take MAT at say a MAT or an ATMA, get a good score, and you have a shot at getting into the 15% all India candidate seats. But of course, the competition is very high there. The cutoffs tend to be high. So keep that in mind. I mean, just taking MAT and getting a low score is not going to help you. If you're taking MAT, you should be aiming for a very high score. Then only you will be able to get into those 15% all India seats, because of course it's an all India thing. So that's going to be competitive. So these are the things that you should keep in mind. I hope this particular video has helped you. And see, once CET is done and once the response sheet is out, right? I understand that everybody goes through a lot of emotions. The emotions could be maybe denial, it could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be a lot of other things, right? You may have this feeling that you could have done better, and obviously everybody has that feeling. You might get into the whole debate of how things are unfair, how one slot was easy or one slot was difficult. But if I just take you back here, right? It's right. Whatever has happened, right? So there's nothing that you or I can do about it. So you will have to look at it from that lens. That okay, my slot was maybe easy, my slot was maybe difficult, but the way they calculate percentile, they calculate it on the basis of your slot, right? So as long as you have done well in your slot, how rest of the slots turned out is actually not a very big concern to you, right? So you should not be worried about it too much. It's okay if you were in a particular slot which turned out to be difficult. In fact, having a difficult paper is actually better because it segregates aspirants who are serious versus non-serious. In easy papers, it becomes like a complete a test of how quick you are, right? How fast you can go, rather than it being test of your content, because the exam is easy, so it is easy for everybody, right? So whatever has happened, I think it's completely okay. It's fine, whatever score that you have got. You just wait for the results now. Don't take any harsh decisions. Don't get into the whole criticizing mode. Don't start trash talking about CET cell, because this is what it is, right? I mean, even I feel that the from my days, for example, when I was a student, we used to have like a fairly consistent paper, which everybody used to take the same paper. All say 1.1 lakh people who took when I was a student, everybody had the exact same paper. The topper used to be like 167, 169 kind of a thing. So it used to be a challenging paper. Challenging papers are always better. That's one thing that we have always maintained, and even that is why even IMS mocks have been slightly on the difficult side. But a paper like this, looking at the topper score across all these slots, you will be able to figure out that some of the slots have turned out to be extremely straightforward. And that is, I think, not how it should have been. But anyway, so this is how the exam was conducted. That's the reality of life. So let's accept it and move on and figure out what is it that we should do next, which is what I discussed in the form of the next steps that are going to happen. And of course, the exams that you have, right? Whether it is MAT or ATMA. So look forward to that. Don't lose momentum. If you're planning to take the MAT, the CET prep that you've done is definitely going to help you. So focus on preparing for these exams. Some of you might be feeling a little frustrated, bored also, that I don't want to prepare for another exam. But this might just be the chance that takes you to some of the good business schools, right? So please focus on them rather than crying over the stuff that has already happened. What's done is done. Okay. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share. I hope this video has helped you, and wish all of you all the best. In case you have any queries, let me know. We'll be very happy to reply as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll see you soon in the next video. Till then, all the best to all of you.